want to share with you a different kind of story today, and it's very personal to me, something that I personally went through that was one of the deepest, darkest times of my entire life. And the reason I want to share this story is I want to encourage you to be able to look at your life and the money that you have and the wealth that you're building and what you're creating with all of the resources that you've been given, and figure out the best way to make sure that you're maximizing your resources and protecting your wealth, because that's what gives you peace of mind to be able to live in this state of freedom and peace. So I went through an experience after the birth of my second daughter about 6 months ago that I almost died. And I didn't really know as I was going through the situation how close to death that I was. I delivered my daughter. It was fairly traumatic in just the fact that it was a really short labor. It was about 45 minutes of active labor, and you can imagine that that was very quick and also very stressful and high intensity, very painful labor. But afterwards, my placenta would not detach. And I thought it was no big deal. And pretty soon they're wheeling me off to the operating room. And I woke up 4 hours later. And I just remember when I came to that I'm looking at the clock and it said 2:30 in the morning. And I was realizing that all of these people were around me. I had this tremendous sense of being loved and having compassion from all of the hospital staff that was around me in the room, and really wondering what in the world had happened. And then I realized that my husband had been not seeing me for about 4 hours at that point. And just all of these emotions are happening inside of me that I'm wondering, how in the world is he doing? What is he thinking? He's got to be worried to death. I have a baby girl that I barely even got to meet after I delivered her. And I'm in a position where I'm tremendously grateful for the staff. There was about 9 people standing around me. All of these faces that most of them I didn't know. Some of the doctors I could place, and I knew the doctor who delivered my baby, and I knew another one of the doctors in the hospital as well. And the rest were staff from the intensive care unit that I didn't recognize, but came to figure out who they were later. And what I realized in that moment is, number one, I was tremendously grateful to be alive. I just had this overwhelming sense of gratitude and thankfulness that God is good, that I was alive, and that I just had this tremendous sense of being protected and safe. Now, we look back on that situation now after we figured out the whole story, and I had ended up hemorrhaging and losing a lot of blood. They gave me 8 units of blood, which I found out later that is almost had replaced all of the blood in my body. I just wouldn't stop bleeding. Then I went into something called DIC, which I don't fully understand, but it had to do with a clotting factor that didn't happen. I wasn't clotting correctly. And then I was unconscious for at least 45 minutes as well afterwards. They're trying to get my blood pressure up, and I was just a disaster. And looking at that situation, we realized that my husband, of course, I was not in his position. I wasn't in the room with him, but he was really having to contemplate the situation of possibly not having me to walk out that hospital with him. And he was trying not to let his mind dwell on that, of course, because he was wanting what was best, and he was wanting to focus on what he wanted to create and what we wanted to happen, which was me to be completely healthy. But in that moment, he had a realization that we have life insurance. And this might seem like a trivial matter in this moment, but he was really having to face the reality of possibly not having me in his life going forward. And what would that look like with 2 girls and no mom? And what would that look like financially? And how would he be able to carry on? What would the next day and the next minutes and the next weeks look like? And he just had this sense of peace financially, knowing that we have the life insurance. And it's not something that we just take lightly, or we talk about life insurance all the time. We talk about life insurance from a perspective of privatized banking, which is you're putting cash into a whole life insurance policy, and you're building up this cash value inside the policy that you can use. But even more than just having that cash value component, which is readily accessible cash, there's another tremendous value in this asset of life insurance, and it's the death benefit itself. And sometimes we don't talk about that as often, and I want to share about how important that was in our family at that moment, realizing that it was a very likely possibility that we were going to have to use that life insurance. And we have human life value. Both my husband and I are insured up to the maximum that we can get. Now, that does mean that that's not all whole life insurance, but we have term insurance to supplement the whole life insurance that we have as well. And the reason is that we want to have as much death benefit as possible. Now, the reason to have that is that if something were to happen to me, there is this tremendous dollar amount that would be then placed in my husband's hands as a check that would then give him the peace of mind to be able to say, okay, we have the finances and resources to cover full-time care for the girls so he can continue working, or so he could quit working and be in a position where he wouldn't have to worry about an income and he could just hunker down, figure out how to raise the kids, and be able to move forward and be okay. The reason that the death benefit is such an important part of life insurance is that it allows you to fill up those wealth tanks in your life, if you will, so that even if you are not here to live and make the income and put the money aside and build the cash flowing assets and do all of the things to build time and money freedom while you're here, it automatically creates that. It gives this lump sum into the hands of your partner or whoever's the beneficiary of that policy. And then they are able to say, how can I use those dollars to the best of my ability? How can I put those into cash flowing assets? How can I put them to work so that they do create time and money freedom? Now, the reason I share all of this is that sometimes it can seem like protection or having life insurance is just something that's nice to have, but we don't really value it or make a priority to go rush out and get it tomorrow. And sometimes I don't even share with the people that are closest to me how important having life insurance is in your life. I can't imagine what going through that situation could possibly look like without life insurance. I mean, that would just be tremendously scary because then you're having to figure out how to drain a savings account if you have one, and you're trying to figure out how to cash in other investments and assets or rely on the generosity of friends and family. And you're in a situation that is even darker and scarier than if you at least had the financial resources covered. Now, of course, that doesn't make it emotionally easier to handle the loss of a loved one or the potential loss, but it does give you this peace of mind that financially everything will be okay. Now, this is something that I share from my heart because I really believe that having that life insurance just gives me and my husband just this peace of mind, knowing that if something were to happen to both of us, our girls are going to be taken care of. We don't have to wonder if that's a possibility or hope that everything would work out. We know that there's the finances to cover that. The reason I share this with you is that I want you to be in a position of having that peace of mind, that financial solid ground and certainty beneath you, specifically in the area of life insurance, because that gives you this ability to know that whenever you pass away, and we know that that's going to be a guarantee in your life at some point, we know that you want to be able to have this legacy that hands off to the people that you love so that you can take care of them to the best of your ability. Now, that peace of mind then gives me this certainty and this confidence and this ability then to not have to be worried in that area of my life so that I can take more aggressive action and be more confident and certain of everything else that we do because I know that we've got that covered. You know, there's this saying that if what you have can be taken away, it's not really yours. So don't be in a position where one life event can come in and rob the wealth that you've created and make you poor. I really want to share that story with you, not because I want to be a downer or I want to layer on fear and guilt or concern and worry. And certainly there's no reason to be concerned about me. I'm okay. I'm healthy. My daughter is well and healthy. But when we look back at that situation, I really want to share this message with as many people as possible to make sure that you maximize the protection in your life. Don't undervalue it. Don't say, well, it costs a lot of money, so I'm not going to be protected. Because then you're in this position of uncertainty that no matter how much wealth you build and no matter how much success you have, that if any one life event can come in and make you poor and take that rug out from underneath you, it's a really precarious and uncertain position to be in. So make sure that you give that gift of peace of mind and confidence and certainty to your family. Make sure that you have life insurance and be fully insured with as much life insurance as you can get. Hey, I hope you liked this video. If you did, click the link in the description box below for more information. And don't forget to like this video. Share your comments, questions, and feedback in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit subscribe to our YouTube channel.